Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Krishnaya Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nityanamine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desatagini Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Mukam Karoti Vacharam, Pangum Langate Girim Yatkupata Mohammade, Shri Guru Dinatarine, Hare Krishna. So today we'll see verse number 18 of the chapter Dhyan Yoga, 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. So let us chant the shloka. Viniyatam chittam
Viniyatam chittam
Atmani evavatishtate
Atmameva vasishthate
Nispruha sarvakamebhyo
Nispruha sarvakamebhyo
Yukta iti uchyate tada
Yukta iti uchyate sattada
Yada viniyatam chittam
Yada viniyatam chittam
Atmani evavatishtate
Atmanimeva tishthate
Nispruha sarvakamebhyo
Nispruha sarvakamebhyo
Yukta iti uchyate tada.
Yukta iti uchyate sattada.
Please chant.
यदा विनियतं चित्तम् आत्मनि एवावतिष्ठते निःस्पृहः सर्वकामेभ्यो युक्त इति उच्यते तदा
यदा विनियतं चित्तम् आत्मनि इव वतिष्ठते निःस्पृहः सर्वकामेभ्यो युक्त इति उच्यते तदा.
Okay, thank you very much. So let's see a little bit long per part. When a yogi, by practice of yoga, disciplines his mental activities and becomes situated in transcendence, devoid of all material desire, he is said to be well established in yoga. But the activities of a yogi are distinguished from those of ordinary person by his characteristic cessation from all kinds of material desire, of which sex is the chief. A perfect yogi is so well disciplined in the activities of mind that he can no longer be disturbed by any kind of material desire. This perfectional stage can automatically be achieved by a person in Krishna consciousness, as stated in Srimad Bhagavatam 9.4, 18 to 20. Savai mana Krishna padar vindayor vachamsi vaikunta gunanuvarnane karo harer mandire marjanadishu shrutim chakara chuta satkatho daye mukundalingalaya darshane drushau tadvritya gatra sparshe anga sangamam granam Chitatpada Saroja Saurabhe Srimat Tulasya Rasanam Tad Harpite Padau Hare Kshetri Padanu Sarpane Shiro Rushikesha Pada Bhivandane Kamam Chadase Natukam Kamaya Yathottama Shloka Janashraya Rata. King Amrish first of all engaged his mind on lotus feet of Lord Krishna. Then, one after another, he engaged his words in describing the transcendental qualities of Lord. His hands in mopping the temple of Lord, his ears in hearing the activities of Lord, his eyes in seeing the transcendental form of the Lord, his body in touching the bodies of the devotees, his senses of smell in smelling the scent of the lotus flowers offered to Lord, his tongue in tasting the tulsi leaf offered to the lotus feet of Lord, his legs in going to places of pilgrimage and the temple of the Lord, his head in offering obeisances to the Lord, and his desires in executing the mission of the Lord. All these transcendental activities are quite befitting your devotee. This transcendental stage may be inexpressible subjectively by the followers of impersonalist path, but it becomes very easy and practical for a person in Krishna consciousness, as is apparent in above description of engagement of Maharaj Ambarish. Unless the mind is fixed on the lotus feet of Lord by constant remembrance, such transcendental engagements are not practical. In the devotional service of the Lord, therefore, these prescribed activities are called archana, or engaging all the senses in the service of the Lord. The senses and the mind require engagement. Simple ignition is not practical. Therefore, for people in general, especially those who are not in renounced order of life, transcendental engagement of the senses and mind is described above is the perfect process of transcendental achievement, which is called yukta in Bhagavad Gita. So Krishna explaining the yama niyama, right? So what should be done, what should not be done, how the yogi should sleep, how he should eat, how he should recreate. And by this, Krishna told that by doing these activities, as mentioned by Krishna, not too much or not too little, the by the regulated life, the yogi is able to control his mind. Here, control his mind means he is able to fix the mind on the Lord. So Krishna or Vishnu, he can fix the mind by regulating the activities. So what happens after when the yogi regulates his needs and his requirements and his daily lives, then what happens is this is explained in this verse. So this is the pratyahara stage in the Ashtanga Yoga where the yogi becomes fixed. So Krishna says disciplines mental activities. Viniyatam chittam. So the mind and its activities are disciplined. How we see that? By regulating the engagements. And then the mind gets disciplined, where to focus, where not to focus, at what incidents or in what situation it should act, and how it should minimize the requirements and desires so as to not get bewildered from the path. And then the yogi, by the regulating the external activities, focuses internally. Hmm. So his chittam, his mind is focused. And the word used is nispriha sarva kamebhyo. So all the desires, when we say desires, material desires, he gets free from those desires. And when he is free from those desires and he is in connection with the Supreme, that is called Yukta stage. So that is Pratyahar stage in Ashtanga Yoga. So actually, how does, when we regulate our activities and our senses and use of our senses, like speaking, hearing, seeing, etc., uh, and we regularize them. And yesterday we were discussing that by regularizing the activities and limiting the activities, the mind gets help, or mind or intelligence can control the mind. Hmm. And then intelligence focused on the higher self controls the mind. And in this situation, when all the desires are controlled, then actually the yogi understands that how much he is suffering because of his material desires and also because of the external activities. And once he controls his external activities, then he is peaceful, or he can focus on the higher self. So this is yogi going from external activities to the internal activities or going inside and trying to connect with the Supreme. And that is what Krishna says, Yukta, that yogi is connected, very situated in his practice. So, Srila Prabhupada mentions the activities of Amrish Maharaj from the ninth canto. So, Amrish Maharaj was a Rajarshi. So, he was king of the all three worlds, plus he was Rishi. So, he has studied all the Vedas. He understood the um, conclusion of the Vedas also. So he was in very higher stage of consciousness. And in Bhagavatam, it is mentioned that Amrish Maharaj, though he was king of the all worlds, he focused all his activities and all his senses, including his intelligence, minds, body, everything in service of the Lord, though he was king. So he gave up all his administrative activities to his members of the kingdom. So they were doing all those activities, and Amrish Maharaj was continuously using all the senses and everything in the service of the Lord. So this is what devotee does. So yogi has to stop external engagement and go inside. Uh, Why he stops the external engagement? So that he can control the mind, to focus on the Supreme. But for a devotee, it is much easier because the devotee is not trying to stop anything. He is not trying to stop the external activities. But instead of stopping, he is engaging the senses and mind and everything in the service of the Lord. So, this is much natural for any human being because we are not trying to stop anything. We are trying to redirect all the activities to Krishna. And by that, it becomes a pratyahar stage, or it becomes a meditation stage where you are almost fixed on the Supreme. So, these external activities can also be utilized to go to the higher consciousness or Krishna consciousness by engaging or in the activities of the devotional service. So, if you are having all the activities throughout the day and throughout the year, somehow or other the activities are going on, then you cannot think of any other thing but to engage the senses in the service of Krishna. So that is a much higher stage and uh, much easier also. So Krishna in the 12th chapter he explains to go through the path of focusing is very difficult. The impersonal path is very difficult, and there are so many challenges in it. But a devotional service or bhakti is sulabha. It's easier to perform. So here Krishna or Srila Prabhupada also trying to emphasize the same point, and we see this verse was quoted in the I think second or third chapter also of Amrish Maharaj, and now again to um, show or to prove that by engaging our senses completely on the service of the Supreme Lord, you become fixed in the um, devotional service, or your mind gets controlled automatically. So the yogi is going controlling the external activities with great much efforts and then try to focus on the Supreme. But the devotee engages in the activities. So now Krishna will give example in the next few verses how this yogi who has fixed consciousness or he is yukta, how he crosses how he goes from that stage to the final stage that Krishna will explain now, because he has already explained now in this shloka he started explaining what the yogi gains or what the yogi how he proceeds towards the yoga root stage. So that we'll see tomorrow. Hare Krishna. So any points, any comments? Okay, Hare Krishna. So let's see the 19th verse. Krishna gives an example of the yogi who is fixed. So let's see that tomorrow. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.
Hare
Hare Krishna,
Krishna.
Prabhuji.
Thank
Sorry, I
you.
have
Thank you
a
so
question.
much.
Yeah, yeah.
Actually, many times it happens that we try to uh, regulate, but then for few days we do it and then breaks down. So how should we continue doing that? Like regulate our senses, like regulate our sleep and everything.
Yeah, so actually, like for me also, for anyone, because our daily situations, daily life is not always same. And there are many changes day to day, right? So based on that, actually, um, our response also changes. So sometimes, like when people are trying to control the weight control, say for example, so sometimes they go to parties and some marriage, and then they have to eat. But then what they do afterwards, they try to go to their regular routine and try to cover up for the extra calories or something. So sometimes it will happen in grihastha life and in current situation also that um, sometimes we just are very tired that we cannot wake up. It's quite possible. So if today I was not able to follow my routine, it's fine, because Krishna is saying, what Krishna looks at is we are trying to regulate. Right? Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, many places, that you should try, Arjuna, to regulate your senses. You should try to uh, uh, control your mind. You should try to uh, limit your activities. So Krishna is always telling us to try. So our sadhana is also what we are doing. We are trying to chant purely. We are trying to serve Krishna's devotees. So everything we are doing is our try, and that try itself is bhakti. Right? So sometimes we may not be in the regular routine, but yeah, if we lose 2 days, so actually we cannot get those 2 days back. But then we should try to go again to the routine what we have set up, and we should expect that there will be fallouts. Basically, that's how the material world is. Everything will not go correct. So we should start with this assumption that sometimes I will fail, so that we become much more alert to avoid that failure, basically. So I think that's how I try to do that. Okay, I am not perfect, so I'm going to fail. So let's be more alert. That helps actually. You can try.
Okay, yes, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
So our Hare Krishna. So what we have to do is we have to keep trying, keep trying, keep trying, and someday it will happen. Okay, thank you very much. Let's see tomorrow the examples of this yogi who is fixed in consciousness. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank
Hare
you.